Honorable governors present here today, government officials present here today, members of the civil society, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning to all of you. And I'm indeed honored to be here this morning to deliver a few remarks on behalf of UNDP on the occasion of the validation of the second National Anti-Corruption Strategy and Action Plan for 2021 to 2025. Director of Ceremonies, the Global Sustainable Development Agenda with its 17 Sustainable Development Goals is a call for global action to eradicate poverty, save the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. And all of this to be achieved in now less than 10 years with us by the year 2030. So we, in the UN, along with all the UN member states, heeding the calls of the people of this world, had included a specific Sustainable Development Goal, which is called SDG 16, to promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. The emphasis I'm laying on all these words is very deliberate because there was a deliberate intent. Before this, we had the Millennium Development Goals, and it was discovered that without responsive institutions, development does not take place. Without peace, societies do not move forward. So while all of these SDGs are interlinked, SDG 16 is actually the bulwark of all of these sustainable development goals. And this goal is to ensure that we have strong and accountable institutions and effective governance, and is the very foundation of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And this has also been acknowledged time and again in the National Development Plan, and more recently now in the Harambee Prosperity Plan 2, and which remains now the foundation of Namibian democracy and its ability to achieve sustainable development. Effective and transparent institutions provide rule of law, support economic growth, reduce poverty through basic service provisions. And all of these are the hallmark of effective governance, which is delivered by a swift reduction in corruption, illicit financial flows, money laundering, hidden ownership of assets, and the like. And we have a lot of evidence that it is corruption that continues to undermine human development by perpetuating inequality. It undermines the confidence of the people in public institutions, eroding the capacity and legitimacy of the state and the rule of law. Therefore, a government which is committed to ensuring transparent and accountable institutions and establishing rule of law to provide a safe place where no citizen feels left out, to quote the Honorable President, that government definitely needs to be commended. Namibia has an enviable track record on the continent on peace and democratic governance. It ranks amongst the top countries on the internationally recognized Mo Ibrahim Index. Yet we cannot be complacent. We need to do more. There is scope to do more to improve the country's scores on transparency. And the second National Anti-Corruption Strategy and Action Plan 2021-2025 for the United Nations Secretary General's call for a decade of action. It comes at that opportune moment to take Namibia further on this path. Along with promoting and advocating for systems of integrity, accountability, and transparency, it has a crucial task of addressing the current deficit in public trust and reversing public perception on the efficacy of the country's anti-corruption system. In these times of increased uncertainty and vulnerability, corruption thrives, depleting scarce resources that could be invested towards financing response and recovery plans, and it also undermines public services. Ladies and gentlemen, the fight against corruption, as someone said, is not only related to high-profile arrests and high-profile investigations. The fight against corruption can only be successful if we prevent corruption taking place in the first place. The fight against corruption needs to move beyond pure rhetoric to impactful action through awareness, education, and transparency, which is the vision of this new strategy and needs to be owned by all of us. Last year's Global Corruption Barometer noted that citizens themselves are key to making a difference when it comes to fighting corruption. Therefore, at UNDP, we support public engagement in the second National Anti-Corruption Strategy through citizen engagement, strengthening civil society partnerships with the private sector, academia, local communities, and other stakeholders. UNDP is a global knowledge leader in the field of anti-corruption. We have what we call the GAIN, or the Global Anti-Corruption Initiative, which focuses on strengthening systems, institutions, and civic engagement to combat corruption and to better manage and deliver public resources. UNDP envisions implementing innovative anti-corruption initiatives across the continent and globally by leveraging technology and innovation to promote integrity and anti-corruption across all sectors and development areas, to enhance beneficial ownership and transparency, and to promote financial integrity for sustainable development. Over the past 2 decades, the evolution of technology has dramatically transformed economies, societies, and cultures. Digitalization can propel us towards achieving the sustainable development goals. Rapid advancements in technology, in ICT to new technologies such as artificial intelligence, have profoundly changed the ways people interact with one another and with businesses and with governments. I would just like to give you an example on how technology has been used. In Ukraine, Honorable Prime Minister, they were facing a lot of problems with the procurement and pharmaceuticals. They introduced, and Ukraine has actually is regarded as an open contract data society. So in 2016, they adopted a system. It was called Prozoro. It's an e-procurement system which has reduced or saved them annually 12 million US dollars in the procurement of medicines and related products. And likewise, there are other examples where blockchain technology is being used, and that value is forecasted to increase to 3.1 trillion by 2030. And the application of blockchain in supply chains and across sectors has the potential for transforming systems and is particularly relevant for preventing and combating corruption due to its potential for providing transparency and a higher level of security and integrity of the records and information it manages. Ladies and gentlemen, the second strategy and action plan therefore comes at an opportune time, as we are faced in Namibia with several challenges and a global pandemic which is still raging. We must therefore the national strategy. The UN in Namibia, ladies and gentlemen, recognizes the importance of partnerships for delivering concrete results. The evaluation of the last strategy, during the evaluation, we identified the need to enhance processes for thinking through how best to create coalitions from all parts of society, especially in the context of SDGs, but more importantly, to identify these lessons which can assist us in accelerating the attainment of the Agenda 2030. The previous strategy highlighted several lessons learned. However, significant result from the previous strategy remains coordination. The previous strategy provided tremendous learning opportunities for the staff of the ACC. They developed and honed their supervisory skills and coordination skills and monitoring and evaluation, and have done well in terms of implementing the first strategy's actions with our support as well, with our little support that we could provide. Director of Ceremonies, in conclusion, the UN as a partner of choice in Namibia will therefore continue working closely with government to ensure the implementation of the second strategy and action plan. The specific objective 2.6 of the strategy, support public procurement system reform and enhance accountability in budget management, is a key new addition to this strategy. However, it is the additional monitoring structure in the form of the strategy to include the regional forums chaired by the governors in all the 14 regions, which shall ensure the inclusivity, ownership and accountability at all levels of the society. As we validate the second National Anti-Corruption Strategy and Action Plan here today, I cannot help but recall former UN Secretary General and Nobel Laureate Kofi Annan's words that if corruption is a disease, then transparency is an essential part of its treatment. And if we fast forward it to today's context, then transparency is the vaccine. Thank you very much for your attention.